Okay. Well, welcome to Little Did I Know podcast YouTube version. We are super excited to be joining y'all today. And
Y'all.
you know what? Actually, retract that. I actually hate when people say y'all
Oh,
and
I
they're not
love
from the
it.
South.
What if you've lived
Oh,
in the
I
South?
think those are posers. If you live there, you get to own that.
Okay,
But
thank you.
I've not. I live in the Midwest, so y'all is stupid. Like, I don't even know what happened there. I really do hate when people say y'all, and I'm like, you are from Iowa. You're from Illinois, dummy. You don't say y'all. You don't get to claim that. Anyways, so I hope you take that
As we
away and
were.
just let this all play itself out. Okay.
But welcome, as we were saying, welcome.
Welcome, everybody, all you good people. Um, we we're gonna do a little bit different today than what we've been doing. So we just finished our series, the first. Monday was our very last one, the first in marriage, and so taking that, we're gonna kind of take that on a little bit, but we're gonna just kind of expound a little bit on what life just kind of looks like for us,
Yes.
what we like, the resources that we use, some of the things that we do now to insulate our lives a little bit better, knowing, like we talked about, we sure did not walk into this naive on this one. We
Well,
walked in a little feisty.
I walked in a
One of us might.
little bit too boundered. Just kind of
Too
like,
boundered.
is that a word?
I
Boundered?
don't know. I like it
You
though.
get my drift.
Okay.
If it's not,
Yeah.
you're seeing where I'm going with this.
So would you say like girded? Is that what would be
I
boundered?
girded my
Girded,
loins.
girded your
Yes.
loins? Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think just more, maybe not naive, but a little bit too guarded for sure.
Oh gosh. Yeah.
Which happens. I mean, again, that pendulum swing, like all the way over.
Yeah.
Oh, you're the best thing ever. To what'd you
Girded.
say? What did you say?
Come at me, bro. Okay. 100% the same way. Like
You know what I mean?
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So let's just kind of talk about where do you want to start today?
Well, I think that this is going to be an area that you really thrive in with the books that you read. So let's just start there because I am all about service today, and I want you to go first. I mean, I do have
Okay.
some books, but one of the reasons for this topic of books is not just books for personal enjoyment, but for
Right.
personal marital growth.
Right.
Let's
Yeah.
let's start there.
Okay, for sure. So one thing is I am a reader. Like that is a way that I say all the time, like I am extroverted and I've had an extroverted job always, but I recover very much like an introvert.
Yeah.
And so reading is like, in that solitude is something that is some of the ways that I recover. Um, and then also when I am totally pulling back from
With a glass
life,
of wine. Let's not just be innocent. Like I just.
I mean, paint your own picture. However you choose to do it. I don't care.
You got a
But
bottle over here. You got a bottle over there.
I have been a wine member for 5 years. And actually, side note, something funny. So in this sabbatical where I was like, you know what I think I'm gonna do? I think I'm gonna do a part-time job. Like I think I just want to do something fun, something whimsy. Like I just don't want to have to think about it. I applied to Cooper's Hawk to be a wine pourer. I was like, oh my
You would
gosh,
be fantastic.
I think so, kind of like the hot dogger. Like I think that there's a couple things I'd be really good at, but I am like, give me some people drinking wine, having a really great time. I'll throw in a couple stories, pour
Yes. Oh
wine,
my
tell them
gosh.
about it.
You need to revisit
Fine.
that.
Well, Cooper's Hawk did not want to hire me. I don't know why. I was like,
They're
I'm more than
lost.
just a pretty face. Come on,
They're lost.
jackasses. But
There goes that sponsorship.
well, and you know what? You're right. I'm about to withdraw my membership. Now I'm mad. But so anyways, that is something that I do love to read. So, the books that I read in my season of like single, dating, just really trying to figure out this best version of me. My one of the like a really pivotal book that I read was Uninvited by Lisa Turkhurst.
Okay.
Um, it and I've said like my season of um divorce also came with a broader scope of bigger wounds, history of things. So it wasn't just that. So I was, my marriage was broken. And then also I had broken pieces of my life that everything at that point needed attention. Does that make sense?
Yeah, for sure.
So Uninvited was so good for me. One of my takeaways that I remember, and like I read this probably like 3 or 4 years ago. So it's been a while ago, but she talks about the scarcity mentality that we have and that it was something that we probably grew up in. And it's this thing about like, okay, if there's only so much available. So if you have a friend, if you have somebody who got a promotion, whatever it was, our scarcity mentality is that, well, they took some of yours, so there's not going to be enough left for you, instead of celebrating that there is enough for everyone to go around. And scarcity, I realized like that had been embedded in my brain since I was a little girl, that if somebody had something, that meant that there was less for me. And I just wasn't chosen, or I wasn't picked for that. I wasn't good enough for that. And that I lost my chance, and that wasn't coming back around because somebody else got it.
Gotcha.
And so that I think about that all the time, about just because somebody has whatever doesn't mean that they took from mine or that there's not enough for me. So Uninvited, a good one. Now, she just wrote another book, and I listened to her on a podcast the other day, and it wasn't supposed to be this way or something like that, and kind of a similar journey. And so I want to read that. Just not right now. Okay. 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 And who I became best friends with in this season of my life, she just doesn't know it yet, but I know it's Brene Brown.
I know.
Oh my goodness. I just rewatched her Netflix again yesterday, and boy, did she put language around some things. Like we like to talk about, like we're talking about things that maybe isn't mainstream conversation, like the eggplant emojis and, nudie pics and all that kind of stuff. But like she put language around things that I was like, it's like I had a beginning of a sentence, but I didn't have the end of the sentence, and she ended the sentence. And woo. So
she does such a great job. Sorry, keep going.
No, go ahead.
But she just does such a great job, like you said, of putting words to what you're thinking, what you're feeling anyway. So like as you go through the process of healing, the whole point of counseling is like you become more self-aware.
Yeah.
And that's one thing, but to be able to communicate that to other people, she does a phenomenal job of putting words in your mouth to those feelings, to those emotions. But then she takes it a step deeper, where it's like even just, I know I mentioned on one of those episodes of the acronym of trust, right? Of breathing. Yeah. So being able to say, I don't trust you, like that's a very vague and broad statement, but to go deeper of what is it specifically that you don't trust about a person.
Right.
She just does a really good job of that. I totally agree with you.
Yeah. So, I mean, for sure, she's just, and she talks like, so she is this humongous academic, right? Like just, and I mean, crazy, like she teaches and just, she's an academic. Let's just leave it. And so
people I don't quite understand.
I am not, like I talk about skincare and cosmetics and color. Like that's my wheelhouse, right? And so, but I feel like if she and I were to meet somewhere at a bar, we would be best friends because she talks like a regular person. Like she throws out bullshit more than I do. I know, and I say bullshit all the time.
She does. I love her language even when she's speaking on a stage to like all of these other academics. She just drops it left and right.
I'm like, if you could have an infinity for swearing, which I'm like, oh my gosh. Yeah.
Which of her books specifically though really got to you?
I don't think that there's one that I have not. For each season, each time that she's released one, I think her last one was Braving the Wilderness, and it was so specific. And So I don't think that there's one that I haven't
Yeah.
loved it every season.
Yeah, the Dare to Lead. I heard
Okay.
like Daring Greatly. I've heard a lot of people say they like that better than Dare to Lead.
Okay.
But after a while, I think it's a lot of the same communication and it's a
Yeah.
lot of the same words that she's using.
Yep.
The one that I was gifted through the process of my counseling journey was Women in Shame, and
Mm.
it's actually like $100. It's a very expensive book, but
Okay.
it gives you like it goes. It's almost like too much. It was too much for me
Yeah.
to even comprehend because it goes
Yeah.
very deep and gives you practical steps, worksheet, like
Yep.
homework as you're reading. So it's a very slow read because it's literally like you're going through.
You're ingesting it.
Yeah, it's like you're going through your
Yeah.
own class, like your Brene Brown class, by going through this book and
Yeah.
reading it. But that one was really, really good too.
I love it. Yeah, no, I like her, and I would like to think that she wants to be on our show. So,
I
we'll
mean,
save you a seat, Brene.
we might
You
have
are
to get
welcome.
in line for the next 2 years to go on our calendar, but let's, hey,
I don't know. I feel like we
goal
can just
setting.
jump. Right. We'll jump ahead. Now, here is somebody who also is a friend of mine. Again.
Really?
Mm,
This
mm,
isn't it. Oh, okay.
right, right,
Yeah.
right. Annie Downs.
Oh, yeah.
So I was a road warrior and I fell in love with Annie Downs' podcast first.
Okay.
And I just like her. She's so sweet. She would never say bullshit on a podcast or probably write it in a book. So there's some parts of her where she's so sweet. I'm like, "Oh my gosh, ruffle it up a little bit." But her book Looking for Lovely, I started reading. I was in St. Louis, and then one of my farthest clinics was 30 minutes east east of Indiana. So I had to drive. I started in Missouri. I drove so I'm north. So I drove all the way across Missouri, all the way across Illinois, and I kept driving to 30 minutes almost to Indiana. It is a long drive. And I was in a space where I didn't have internet. Like I lost everything for an hour and a half. And like all I knew was my GPS was like, keep going. It was the saddest night of my existence. Let me tell you. I was I nobody knew where I was. I could have crashed my car and not a single soul on the entire planet knew where I was. It was terrible. Don't you laugh at me. I was so sad. And I just remember going like, nobody knows where I'm at. I really did feel like alone on the planet, alone on the planet. So I had some space on my time. So what do? I go to Barnes and Noble, grab Annie's book because I was listening to her. So her book was Looking for Lovely. And
I'm sorry.
is this too much?
You act like you're in the middle of a droughted wilderness. Like in complete desert conditions.
It was.
Complete isolated from all
It was.
civilization. And then you just
Not a
followed it up with, and then so what I do, I go to Barnes and Noble and
after I drove out of, I did not realize
it's
that
like
there
you're
was
on Little House on the Prairie, and then you go, oh, so I
thank
just went to
you.
Barnes and Noble right after, and
It's almost exactly how it was. Exactly. I was out of civilization. Like I know.
I
I
feel for
told you
you.
that I only know the drama lane. Like that's my lane.
And I only know to call it out in you. That's just why we work so well.
So my self-pity self got out of the car. I saw this golden light and I was like, is that you, Lord? And it was like, no, it's a Barnes and Noble.
McDonald's.
We have Starbucks. Come on in. You're welcome here. You've got a number. We like you.
Oh my gosh, that's so good.
So, that's how that worked. But anyways, it was Looking for Lovely, and I needed that book also that season. It really was trying to find the lovely in places, and it was a beautiful book. So it's not one that's academic. It's not one that's, like you said, like you're gonna have to sit and ingest.
Sure.
But I would recommend anything by Annie Downs. Those would be. I do like Rebecca Lyons. I think she's a really great author. I've read both of her books too. I am a reader. That's
This
just
is
what I am.
definitely your lane. This is why I'm going to take about 2 minutes to explain my books.
Okay. Okay. And now it's your turn.
30 seconds. Go. All right. So, I mentioned on our previous recording that will come out in a couple of weeks, but my favorite book in the history of this existence,
Yeah.
and one that is extremely pivotal, is Abba's Child. And I had a really crazy, this is what it looks like for all you folks,
Mm-hmm.
Brennan Manning, had a really crazy, I don't know what people believe or don't believe, but I know that God speaks to you in multiple ways.
Yeah.
And you've mentioned multiple times about this small, still voice that you hear that's just really impressed on your heart. And myself as well. And in addition to that, a lot of other things, whether it's visions, dreams, those kind of things. So I had this very vivid dream of the picture that is on the front of this book. And I didn't know where it was from. I just kind of had this visual of, again, like this, and it was very vague, so I didn't see if it was a man, I didn't see if it was a woman, it was just like this being that was embracing another. And it was in a time of my life that, like, just totally bound by rejection, totally bound by fear. And in that process, I saw this vision, and I was like, okay, that's great, but nothing came out of it. A couple of days afterwards, I started talking to my brother, and he was mentioning, he's the one that's got me on Brennan Manning books, period. But he started mentioning this Abba's Child book. And so I was just looking it up on Amazon, and I saw the picture, and I was like, you've got to be kidding.
Oh,
and so
wow.
I was like, obviously I bought it, read it, and it was one of those that you have to read so slow because of the transformation that was happening, like, at that moment, right? And it happens every single time that I read it. And it's literally just on the perspective shattering love of God. Things that you have been taught, perhaps, and this is not everybody, but the things that you have been taught in a skewed light growing up, just of how, whether it's performance-based love, or whether it's judgmental love, or whether it's God's grace and his mercy and love for you is completely not dependent upon your acts, your works, what you do, what you don't do. Like, it is just flatlined who he is and how he sees you. And it's just, I don't know, it's one of those that just makes you feel the love of God, and not just, as I said earlier too, it's like I've always loved God. Like, that's something that's just been in my heart. Like, as a young child, I just have. But I've also had that extreme works-based mentality.
Yeah.
Performance-driven based mentality.
Right.
And so to then reciprocate and feel his love for me has been something that I just started feeling the last 5 years of my life. And so that's been a really pivotal one for me. So I would recommend this to anybody who has a breath in their system. Another one, and this is kind of bringing it back to couples, this is something that this nightlight, some people have different perspectives on the Dobsons. And regardless of your point of view and opinion on them, this book has been a really good one for a couples, like a couples devotional book.
Yeah.
So at night, it's extremely helpful when Antoine and I go through that, especially when we're apart. Because quality time is one of my love languages. And sometimes when someone's not a great communicator, or like you just sit on the phone in silence, like I hate that too. So it kind of gives us like a specific route and direction to help navigate through a conversation. So those two are very important too, and for me.
Love it.
Perfect.
Well, easy breezy. It's good. Okay. So, moving on. So what about, you kind of led into that, like a personal practice, like that's what you guys do at night.
Yes.
But like, what other personal practices do you guys do?
A lot of the things that I was thinking of for this specifically are just kind of practices that we learn, like, while in counseling as couples, just using a lot of, for instance, I feel statements. Because I can get very defensive, and then I, like, bound. A lot of it would be ungird, Shauna, ungird. But yeah, using like I feel statements. Going back to Brene Brown, she did something specific that said the story I'm telling myself.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
She used that to, because a lot of times our feelings are really dumb. Like they're based on a lie. So like being able to just clear the open air with, tell me, like, seek to understand. What's your point of view on this? Like, what really was happening? Because this is how I feel, which is valid, but is it based on truth or a lie, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I think that is another one of the story I'm telling myself.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the book, like having specific devotionals at night, like that's very pivotal for us. But a thing for us too in this season of life where things are just so serious and things are just very,
Yeah.
very heavy, is
Heavy.
being intentional on having fun. Because like both of us individually are just people who love to be the life of the party, to go and laugh, to have
Mm-hmm.
fun. So we're not people that we don't sit like side by side or face to face and just have long conversations. That's not really how we roll.
Yeah.
But we do have a lot of conversations and have fun when we're doing something active.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes that can just be even going to a movie, like going and hanging out with friends. It could be having game nights, like that type of stuff. Is it's not just to have fun, but it's being intentional because that's how we love
Yeah.
each other well. Is
Oh, that's good.
in those places.
Yeah.
Your turn.
Um, so communication, I would say for us has been, we're growing it in good, healthy communication. We kind of started that way where we just had, segmented parts of time where that's all we did was
Yeah.
just we talked things out. And so communication for us has been, healthy, but I've been able to say, if something isn't right or something, I will say to him, I still get to say this. This is how I'm feeling. So I get to say how
Yeah.
I'm feeling or how this made me feel. And he's like, you're right. He doesn't squash it. He's not like, oh my gosh, like you're too dramatic, which we know. And
You're running the
he is
lane.
he's this retired Marine. And so to tell you like our different sides of communication, like it takes me a really long time to tell a story, but what I've heard are people like my story. So okay. And
What does he say about him?
so
Seriously.
sometimes he's like somebody asked me a story and I said it and it wasn't like you couldn't have say it in two sentences. So I just kind of gave this thing and he goes, oh, he's such an asshole sometimes. He goes, well, we all learned a whole lot more than what we bargained for right then. Let's move on. And I was like, and so I gave him this look of like, are you kidding me right now? He didn't flinch, he didn't budge. And so later we were talking about it, and I said, so we were laughing about it later, even though like in the middle I was like, I kill you. And he said, I said, I gave you a look. And I said, I guess my Botox was so fresh. You didn't catch that. And he said, oh no, babe. He said, I I saw it. And he's like, it hurt me so deep that you looked at me that way. He goes, but I could not let it on. And I was like, Thomas Barr.
Clearly, it hurt you.
And so, I mean, sometimes he'll say things and I'll be like, oh. I
You said your Botox is so fresh.
really did. I was like, that fella didn't even flinch. I mean, and I was like,
I have to tell Antoine a lot. I was like, land the plane, bud. Land the plane.
Bob Goff. That's another author I like. Bob Goff. It's just like,
Love does.
that's everybody always.
Everybody always.
Yeah.
Yep,
Yeah.
that's real good too.
No, you're right. So that's how like we communicate. But one thing that we do is we will do one morning, either Saturday or Sunday, depending on what we're doing. But we will have one cup of coffee in bed together. And we have, they're from Magnolia, and it says, good morning, beautiful, good morning, handsome. And so those are our coffee mugs that we drink on the weekends, and we clink cups, and that we will have one cup of coffee in bed together before we start our day.
That's your thing.
That's our thing.
I love it.
Yeah. Yeah.
It.
It's pretty great.
That's sweet.
So another thing of like, just things that you guys do together that is just special for you. Just what are some of those things?
I will make a baby.
Okay. That's good. You get that
Wasn't
all
going
to
there with it.
yourself.
Um, well, if those rat turdlicks that didn't steal our bikes, we love biking together.
Yeah.
That's something that he like intentionally wanted to do because he knows I really enjoy that.
Yeah.
So that's one thing. Again, most of this will go back to like more active. So
Yeah.
we love camping. Like we love
Mm.
speaking your language. So we have
Oh.
this spot that we found that's just right on the river. It's right amongst the trees. There's tons of space, and like we're also, it's not glamping, but it is glamping
Mm.
minus, but it's in a tent. So like we have all of the bells and whistles. We have like the 75 whatever massive Yeti cooler that you fit like a smorgasbord of food for just like two
Sure.
days, right? Like that's just
Right.
how we love to do it,
Yeah.
with the chairs and the comfy seats, and you just
Does it have a toilet?
I can
So
make you one.
that is not glamping, man.
So that's just like, it's truly something that we'll just do it just ourselves. When
Yeah.
my parents come out, like we've manipulated them into really loving camping, so they always want to
Oh,
go with us.
really? Okay.
And just like something, people out here just like coming back on Sunday afternoon / evening, the highways are jam packed with people who are coming back from
Yeah.
camping, right? So it's like
Yeah.
it's just something that you do. Like if you live in
Hmm.
this area, it's just kind of a thing that you like to do. So there's that. One thing that I know for sure that we do well, we just travel really well together,
Mm.
and so whenever we go on trips, it could be road trips, it could be flying back to Hawaii, it could be flying really anywhere. Like we just travel really really well together. And my favorite thing, and this kind of goes back to camping too, but I love being off the grid. So your nightmare of Little House on the Prairie into / Barnes and Noble,
Right.
that
Right.
that is like
Hmm.
my dream. I For my birthday, I literally wanted to go on a hike overnight, like backpacking trip, specifically to find a spot where we're off the grid. Like I love not having internet. I love not having my phone on me that works. I love just
Yeah.
being so present with the people and the place that I'm at, that I don't have to worry about getting back with people or people being pissed off because I'm not responding,
Right. Right.
because I'm like, I didn't get it. I don't have my phone on me. Like that's just something I
Yeah.
genuinely love to do with him, because there's so many distractions otherwise. And
Yeah.
I feel like he's always on his phone otherwise anyway. So I'm just like,
Hmm.
this is something I genuinely love to do, is go on adventures off the grid, traveling with him.
So fun.
Really?
I want to make now for real.
That was a flattery comment.
No, I really want to like there's parts of that where I'm like, "Oh, yeah, that sounds great." And then other parts where I'm like, "Oh, I don't think I want to do that."
That's okay.
But I love it for you. I really do love
Yeah.
it for you.
And
Yeah.
hey, we have our middle grounds where we meet.
Of course we do. Yes, ma'am, we do. So for us, our lives are just a little bit different because we're just weekend.
Hmm.
Um, but we will go somewhere. We try to go to a destination place once a month. So on a weekend that I don't have Tate, or we've even done it with Tate. Like Tate's experience, her first experience of Chicago was hysterical last year. And she was like, oh my gosh, I said, I'm going to tell you, when your other friends go to Chicago, I don't think they get the same experience. So like you had the red carpet experience, just so you know. And but we try to go somewhere, and he just one thing that I love about him, and that it's such a comfort for me, is that he is open to everything, and his first answer is not no. Well, I will
Good.
be like, you want a kayak? Yes. And I am like, yeah, you know what I mean? And I'm like, do you want to go? I mean, wherever. And he's like, yeah, let's do it. And so he is up for all of it. And it's just fun. Like he is
That
just
sounds fun.
lighthearted and just really fun. So, and it's just, we enjoy having our time together. And I found out that because we do have just a little bit of time together, that we do more things together. Like he
Yeah.
wants to go. He's like, I like walking around the grocery store with you. And I'm like, Okay. Like, I don't even like going to the grocery store. I like to pick it up and he's like, "Babe, let's just go in." And I'm like, "I don't okay." And like we go to the gym together. And when we first started going to the gym, we were not I don't know, maybe we were married. I don't even know. But I said the first marriage. And I said, when we walk through these doors, we will become strangers. Don't talk to me. You go do your thing. I'm going to do my thing. And I said, and then we will meet back up and, we'll be happy. And he was like, okay. The first time that I did, and I'm running on the treadmill, he's like walking down the aisle, gets a drink behind me, circles the gym. And I'm like, you joker, what are you doing? And so then one time finally, he just was so cute about it. I waved to him and he was like, I didn't know to wave back because you said not to.
He gave me
And
a death threat.
You kept making eye contact with me. And so now it's totally fine. But just we have enjoyed doing things together because our time is so short. So
yeah, I love that. I do like that because the intentionality piece is there. That's good. That's good.
It is, and we're not wasting time.
Yeah.
Like we're making the most of our time. And so yeah. Well, I know.
The next question is, I'm not mad about it.
I know.
As we wrap this up, what are you not mad about this week or even for this coming week?
That is such a great question. So I am gonna say, I have Mom's Weekend this weekend for Tucker, his fraternity. He just got initiated into his fraternity. So I'm going down to Mom's Weekend and I'm wearing a Mom's Weekend shirt and I am not mad about it.
Oh, that's going to be so fun. You're going to be that mom that's like, all right, moms, let's go. You're like be the ringleader of everybody.
I'm going to be like Legally Blonde when she goes to college.
I believe it. And Tucker's going to be like, oh.
That's my mom. But he wanted a shirt too. And I said, we're going to be twinsies. And he was like, mm-hmm. But none of my other two boys did fraternity things in college. And so this is my first real experience of, going to the house and doing all of that kind of stuff.
Have a blast.
I'm not mad about it.
Have a blast.
I think so.
Okay.
So what about you, Shauna? What are you not mad about?
My not mad about is my girls got me for a Christmas present. They got me tickets to the Chicago Cubs Mariners game. So I needed to just like rep my stuff and get my mind set and ready for next week's game.
It's next week.
It's next Tuesday night. And I have looked forward to this literally since December, since they told me about it. So
sure.
My Cubs, they have not come out. They haven't played for years against the Mariners. So I didn't even know this. And they're like, oh, yeah, the Cubs are playing. I know they're not doing well. I know the Mariners are doing awesome. But I'm going to be repping every article of clothing that I have. And I'm going to have a blast doing it.
Who are you going with?
So my girls. So Gabby.
All of them.
Heather,
okay.
Shauna. Yep. All of us are going to go. So normally, like a non-negotiable date on our calendars is the Mariners game, whichever night the Sriracha night lands on.
Okay.
We have a Sriracha night at the Mariners Field.
Okay.
And it is a blast. Like on entrance, they give you one free meal, whatever it is. So they have like all of these different things. All of the restaurants inside, they make a specific Sriracha entree. So whether it's Sriracha dog, Sriracha fries, Sriracha macaroni and cheese, Sriracha
I want all of it.
beer.
Yes.
Like they even have a Sriracha beer.
What?
But you can choose like one free one. And you can get whatever else you want. And they give you a free whatever. So it's like 2 years, it was like a toboggan hat. There's a t-shirt. There's sunglasses. So that's kind of been our thing over the past couple of years, is always going to Sriracha night. So it's kind of like our fun outing that we do as a group.
I love it. I'm not yawning.
Hey,
I'm so sorry.
I love it. So good.
I have a vulnerability hangover.
Those are the worst.
I know. I'm so sorry.
You did so good. Hey,
intentional nose root.
You have hung in there today. So
man,
that's I'm not mad about it. that I get to go to the Cubs game.
I'm not mad about it for you. I love it. And the other thing is, I'm going to talk about this next week, but I'm going to give a little, I'm not mad that I'm going to see you next week.
Give a little prequel, you on your vulnerability hangover. Give a little prequel to what that's going to be like in 2 weeks.
Of
week and a half.
The takeover of Kansas City.
Literally.
Is that what you want?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a little known secret that Kansas City is Las Vegas's little sister. So it is what
Everybody
happens
knows
in
that.
KC stays in KC. So we're going to be hitting all of my favorite hotspots. And if you want to comment on what those hotspots are, if you've listened to any of our other podcasts or YouTube, if you say what it is, I'm going to give you a shout out and I'm going to invite you to join us to those places because we are hitting.
How much fun would that be if we just had like this massive thing?
I know. Yeah. Like a little Kansas City crawl. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Like,
and we're going to have the cutest Uber driver of all next week. So
thank you, Sir Thomas.
Thank you, Thomas Parks. But we are, and so kind of adding on to what I talked about today, I did a Facebook Live and I did Instagram Live. I've never done Instagram Live before. So I think it went out there. I'm not really sure, but I said, if you have questions that you would like to ask us, that you want us to answer, or a topic that you want us to talk about,
or something that you want to see us do.
I was going to say even like a truth or dare. Like we are not afraid of those. We have proven that to be true.
Yep, you are daring to be brave, and I am an adrenaline junkie. Between the two of us, it will get done.
And I'm the girl. If you laugh at me and applaud, I'm going to keep on going. So I just will keep doing it.
Whoa.
Bring her back. But send us your comments, text us, message us, whatever you want, and we will add that into the itinerary that starts next Friday at 3 p.m. Central Time. Don't think I don't have a little countdown going on.
But I get in at 3:15.
Well, I have to start driving at 3 to get you.
Oh, okay.
So that's when it's exciting for me.
Fair. Okay.
Yeah. We're going to come in hot. So stay tuned. And here's the other thing that we decided yesterday on a whim, because that's what we do. We'll come to your town too.
we just thought about it and felt like it was the right thing to do.
We did. We said, you gather up some friends and you know who's going to join you? Steph and Shauna. Yes, we will. So get your planning meeting together, get your committees together, and we're going to be there. We have points. We're fine. Until Delta wants to sponsor us and Hilton or IHG, whichever. It doesn't matter. Although I do like Marriott beds too. So, whatever. Whatever. Okay. So thank you for joining us today on YouTube. Little did I know, as we wrap up, tie it with a bow, our second series called
Firsts.
That's right. So look for us next week on podcast, and then we'll join you back here on Instagram next week.
Ta-ta.
I bid you adieu.